truly, and you can ask Lily, the thing we say every day, if not several times a day when we're on set together, we are so lucky to be together. I'm always like, Lily, like, could you imagine if you were a
Emily in Paris season 4 is finally here. And I mean, it's been 2 long years since we last had it on our screens. But before we get into all of that, I actually wanted to start by taking it back to the beginning of your Emily in Paris journey. And the you who was literally stepping on that flight to take on this role for the first time. How much has your life changed from that moment till today?
I can't even call that like a different chapter of my life. It feels like a different person in every aspect of my life and who I am. And I think that's part of what's been fun is I think recently me and Lily this past season were like, oh my gosh, we've known each other half a decade now. And the amount that our lives personally have changed, the biggest blessing of that show is getting to check back in with each other and also like support each other through like how much our lives are changing. I mean, when we first met each other, everything from relationship, she had just met Charlie to like now they're happily married and and like me, I had never done a TV show. I had never been to Paris. I'd only been to Europe for the first time in like my mid 20s. I'd never lived abroad. That to where I am now and who I am now, it truly feels like a totally different person. Sometimes like old pictures come up and I can't even remember certain things. But I think that it's a beautiful thing to be able to look back and see how much you've changed, and then to recollect, oh, is this the person that I wanted to be if my life turned into this?
The reason why I think so many people love Emily in Paris is it is just like injecting joy into your veins. And I'm going to say this is a bold statement for me, but in my humble opinion, I think season 4 is the funniest season yet. It is joy from start to finish.
Wait, have you seen it?
I'm on episode 3.
Can you tell me what happens? I keep on thinking I can't remember a thing, but I'm so glad you think that. It was a different kind of season because we were in the winter. I was obviously coming off of I was still in recovery. So I just wasn't, yeah, but I'm so glad you like it. I hope people like it.
Well, to say you were literally coming off you were still recovering at that time. Your performance is incredible, and the amount of determination and resilience you must have had to dig from within yourself to get through that is just incredible. So, firstly, you should be so proud of yourself for that, babes.
Thank you. Well, I've never, how people always say like it takes a village and stuff. I guess I
Mm,
don't really think it takes for me personally, it doesn't quite take a village, but it takes like a really solid group of superheroes around me, even if it's only a couple people. I would not have been able to do a season of filming in the physical and mental condition that I was in from having sepsis and stuff if it wasn't for, first of all, it's our fourth season with like my hair and makeup team. Like I cannot talk in my dresser. Iris or Carol and Julian. Um, I've never had to have
mm,
a group of people really lift me up every day. I pride myself on being someone who uplifts other people on sets. And I really needed that. And so that's a total testament to them. It's a total testament to having Paul, my boyfriend, and Lily on set with me. When,
mm.
especially this season, me and Lily just talking and a lot of stuff. And I really leaned on her and on Paul this season, and that if my performance is good, it's because of them. My assistant Nikki, like really, I had a team of superheroes around me, and so like now I really understand that phrase so deeply now. Of like it's really, my job is to make sure the final product and everyone's hard work that went into making Mindy look that way, sound that way, be that way, um, is up to par, just to give credit to how much work they put in.
For me, the real love story is actually between Mindy and Emily. Like that friendship on screen is so amazing, and you built this incredible friendship off screen too with Lily. How much has that friendship and also female friendship in general been so transformative to you?
Oh, I have to agree with you with that being so much the heart of the show and the experience for us. It's funny, people ask us a lot, oh, are you constantly like in these locations pinching yourself saying, we're so lucky, I can't believe we're here. And absolutely sometimes, but truly, and you can ask Lily, the thing we say every day, if not several times a day when we're on set together, is we're constantly like, we're so lucky to be together. It
Yeah.
would be so vastly different. We are so grateful. We say it. We're like, could you imagine? Like I'm always like, Lily, like, could you imagine if you were a like, could you imagine what my life would be like? And she's always like, could you imagine, Ashley, if you were like, if you were like a malicious, mean she like she was like, I don't think me all of both of us are like, how could we be standing in these stilettos right now? How could we even in it's so much easier to intake gratitude and like what's going on when you have someone you can really count on to experience it with you. So I think that that has been and people see it too. I think that's what people gravitate towards. Of course, the show is incredibly opulent and funny, and there's so many beautiful characters in it, and the fashion. But um, for us, like the most honest thing about that show feels for me, like that friendship of two strangers um, finding each other. It's exactly what happened with me and Lily. Like,
Yeah.
in what world would we meet in Paris at a read through, and then we're all of a sudden in this show that has blown up all over the world, and it's really humbling. I really feel like although we've changed a lot and felt very empowered as individuals and finding ourselves as the women that we are, I feel like we being together has really helped us. Our friendship feels more grounded than ever, and I think the cores of who we are more grounded than it might have been otherwise.
Not only are you the long needed Asian representation on screen, when you're working with brands like Pandora, you're a level of representation in huge campaigns on high streets and shop windows. When you were growing up, when do you think you needed this representation the most?
I mean, the whole way through. I think the first time I clocked that, oh, I guess I haven't seen this before, was probably when I saw the cartoon, the Disney animated Mulan. And I was like, oh, that is funny. I haven't really seen anybody else who, and it was a cartoon, but it was animation. Um, and I've talked to Lucy Liu about this, seeing her in Charlie's Angels too. I'd never seen someone be portrayed as such a, you know, beautiful badass the same way as her white counterparts. But I think the blessing that I've had from my parents, they both are, it's not that they have this like false positivity or resilience, but they really look at the world with the lens of what am I lacking, but like what how can I do my best? Or so I don't think I ever, if I had really thought about how I did not see anybody like myself in a character that felt like the kind of person that I was. I don't think I would have probably entered the industry, you know? It was more
Mm,
about, oh, I'm so excited to be a part of this. And I'm really grateful. I think that having that sort of like harboring that sort of anger or bitterness or resentment about really not seeing myself would have made so that my path to having the responsibility and getting to represent people or being the first in a lot of schemes of stuff, that would have felt more burdensome than exciting. I think I would be so surprised by it. Sometimes there'd be a headline, oh, the first Ashley's the first Asian American this, or she's the first Korean to do this, or she's the first, and I it really it was wild. But I also think it was, and I when I did Joyride and especially Beef too, like all in a year, I really had I grew up in the Midwest. I really only, especially musical theater, mostly everybody was white. I was the only person of a woman of color in my class of musical theater for all 4 years of college. So I just was always like, oh, if people forget that I'm Asian, then if I look and I feel and I do everything through the lens of a white person, then that's how I'll be happier. That's how I'll be able to get far, or do the things that I want to do. So I think that I had to have a real reckoning with myself of like, I have to be so, I have to like completely embrace and be so proud of who I am and not try to hide that. And that's when I've really seen a difference. Like for me, it's not even about, oh, Mindy's an Asian character in a show that's that a lot of people watch on Netflix. For me, it's that to when I see people when people come up to me on the street, it's the best compliment, but it's like been a weird transition. Not to be like, oh, people come up to me all the time, but when they do, they say, Ashley. And I cannot tell you how many times you can ask Paul, my boyfriend, when we walked in, Ashley, and I'll be like, hey. And people like really feel like they know, like we're friends.
Yeah.
And the great thing about that is sometimes it's been people where I'm like, I guarantee you, this person in this random place has never walked up to an Asian person before with a smile. Like, not to be, not to stereotype certain people who have come up to me or locations I've been in, but for me, it's not even just about Mindy being on screen with Emily. It's that she is as she's she's who we equivalent now with like warmth, music, friendship, honesty, the best friend no matter what, comfort, laughter, fashion. Like she's right up there with Emily, like in her fashion story and her fashion rhetoric. Like to have someone who looks like me, well, because it's my face, but like but to have a Korean American like that, I can't even tell you what that, maybe my self love would have come a lot earlier for me as a person if I grew up watching that, and just to have people who maybe have not interacted with people who look like me, have all those good things associated with that kind of a person. That to me is important.
Yeah, and you are out here doing the most, and it's just incredible to see. I mean, babes, you've done a duet with Meryl Streep on Only Murders in the Building. Let's like the little you.
That
If the little you was sat on the sofa watching that on the TV, can you imagine how she would react to that?
I still don't believe it. I like someone sent me that clip recently, and I was like, are we sure that's not AI? Like, like how is that real? And just, but again, it's not even that it was Meryl Streep, it was that she's the kindest, warmest, most diligent person. When we did that scene, it was I think on Valentine's Day that year. And she, even when the camera wasn't on her, she did every take. She sang full out every time. And like just to have that as like a centerpiece, I mean, that was such a gift in many ways. That was a moment where I was like, oh, I think the universe is happy with the person I am, because not only was that like Martin Short, Selena Gomez, and Steve are so lovely, and like I was with a bunch of Broadway actors as well, but um, to have Meryl Streep and Paul Rudd who are lovely, and to have that song written by Sarah Bareilles, who I did Girls Five Eva with, and then Benj and Justin, Pascal and Paul, who are good friends. I, I was like, this just feels all so lovely and so wholesome. Like I think that's why people feel with me and Lily too. It's like wholesome. you
Yeah.
know, we don't know how to be anything but like just like it's good vibes. At the end of that filming period, I there's a tradition on Broadway that when you leave a show, you get everybody to sign like a playbill. Like, so I have a bunch of playbills with like you give a Sharpie and everybody in the cast and crew can sign it. So I just thought we had a fake playbill. It wasn't like real, but for like the fake musical. And so I had everyone just sign their name or whatever. And Meryl, when I gave it to her, I was like, "Oh, can you just sign your name with like everybody?" And I got it back from her, and it said, "I see you, Ash." Like, I see you, Ash. Meryl. I know it makes me, and I was like, and not that she, and here's the thing, it's not like she's like had never talked to me and didn't see me before, but she was just like, you, like, just to, I think she meant like my heart and the person that I am. And it was really lovely coming from her. I don't know why I'm crying.
That's such a special moment though when someone says I see you. Like there's nothing better than hearing that because there's so many times in all of our lives, right, where we don't feel seen, heard, listened to or understood. And I think in those moments you really think back to the person you were when you didn't feel seen, right?
Right. And I think that that's kind of what we were talking about before of, um, you just don't know like what a little thing can do to like really uplift somebody or um, make them feel so whole or so loved at a certain time.